yeah.
and then the other half we have Araki, who's been, let's face it, just absolutely terrifying on in zone.
And speaking of
over 100 attack in zone. Like they recently posted a clip where they got 104 attack in a single zone, and that's terrifying. That's terrifying. I remember when we were watching the Square One trailer, I literally just said, "That's gross. That's disgusting." It was just pure terror there. And Blaarg also, with high zone attacks in the later phases, just sending a lot of cheese towards the end.
Yeah, both players have pulled out some incredible efficiency, even during Phase 3 when the garbage makes it incredibly difficult to keep up that APM. And especially with Araki and Blaarg being extremely fast players, even outside of zone, having really strong DPM, often enables them to get into some really advantageous scenarios or just come out of these terrible disadvantage states with incredible zone play that is really unparalleled by a lot of people in the scene.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is gonna be a very interesting. These are just gonna be very interesting matchups. I'm super excited to see how this goes. I believe we're just gonna wait for these players to ready up, and we'll get our first match of Square One squared away.
The first match, no pressure on Araki or Shard. Obviously, this is the Tier 1, Tier 4 matchup, so Araki, I'd say, is definitely heavy favored. But I think in this matchup, Shard could ideally have zone APM advantage if they're able to maintain momentum going into it. Because I think one of the strongest things that a lot of Tier 1 players are good at, which isn't really talked about much, isn't necessarily capitalizing on your advantage stage, which obviously Araki does phenomenally well, but forcing your opponents to be in a disadvantage state, or having to pop zone in a scenario where you're either using it in defensive, or you're just not really able to send a lot of damage with it. Because if you can hurt your opponent's ability to damage you, forces them to take on a lot of difficult garbage, and as soon as Phase 3 rolls around, you can get a extremely nice advantage state out of it.
And here we go. We're going to be starting now.
All right, it's happening, guys. Square One matches are underway. We've got Shard on the left. Araki is going to be playing on our right. Let us see how they start with this T and Z opening. And already it looks like the tried and true 6-3.
6-3 sprint, tried and true.
Generally predominant as players are focusing on building up their zone meters. Not really too much on pressuring that much on the early stages. However, if a player does have a terrible misdrop, sometimes they will shift to a little bit more T-spin heavy gameplay to try and force players to top out.
Araki had a lot of initial pressure there, but Shard is there quick with the counterattack.
Oh my goodness.
Quick zone. That T kind of topped them out early.
But one of the benefits of topping out early in a zone is you just get to charge your next zone that much faster. And despite Araki having a 50 Deca Hexatrish, Shard is not really eating a lot. And in fact, it's already a half zone charge.
Yeah, no, that damage outside of the zone really helped bolster Shard's defense there. Still had to accept some garbage, which is usually guaranteed when you have an opponent like that. But Shard's taking blow after blow, but he's taking them really well right now.
And here we go, going into the second zone. Looks like Shard's working a little bit more problem solving to try and get a higher zone clear. Getting a Deca Hexatris, but being at 40 attack, I think Araki might be able to retaliate pretty strongly against that.
Yeah, quickly getting up to 18 lines in the zone. Doing an I-spin kick to get it over to the right. Finishes it off. 49 attack ulti. That's a huge amount of garbage for Shard to deal with. And that T-miss drop is going to definitely slow him down a little bit. Situation's looking a little precarious.
I think, yeah,
that's gonna be the first game.
All right, and look at the performance difference. Araki having quite a bit of advantage in the speed, not to mention the APM. But notice the zone play again with Shard having that incredibly quick first zone. That could be Shard's bread and butter if they're able to pull off some cheese early on against Araki's openers.
All right, and now round two. Starting off with that quick sort of sprint stacking efficiency. Shard Actually, both players have a bit of garbage on the board. Immediate downstacks thanks to that clean phase 1 garbage, you know.
Araki had a wonderful STSD setup on their board that they kind of had to cash out a little early on. Oh my goodness.
Looking at 18, immediate ulti 61 attack. That's a hot start right there. Shard's gonna be... Shard has the time to develop a counterattack, but Araki's gonna keep putting in D-spin pressure. Shard's gonna have to do a lot in the zone in order to try and counteract a good chunk of it. That's a lot! It's very close to the top of the board! Manages to counteract all that damage, but Araki's keeping that pressure going.
Alright, very good by Shard with the skim. Not gonna cover the web, but a misdrop might make this a little bit harder to deal with.
Ooh, that nice Z-spin double there.
Gonna help keep things clean. Araki is just... I think this is actually 5-4 stacking from Araki, but just maintaining as much of clean T-spin as possible.
That was a really impressive downstack from Shard there.
Alright, and I think Araki should beat Shard to the punch, trying to get as strong of a zone clear in as fast as possible and prevent Shard from building up any zone meter. And just
that's a lot of attack. Shard's not going to be able to take it. Oof.
And notice the timing though from Araki. 300 zone APM. Knew if they were able to sneak that in, Shard wouldn't have any zone to counteract, and the difference was just too much. Araki gonna take game 2.
Yeah. Shard's starting with a bit of line skimming pretty early on there. I guess trying to brace for where that well was.
Again, sometimes in the early stages of the game, because of how phase 1 works, even among different line attacks from your opponent, the garbage is still more likely to be in the same column. That does change in phase 2. If you're still in phase 1, sometimes it can be advantageous to just take a minute, wait to see where that garbage is going to show up, and then start building.
Both players in zone. Araki finishing with a 54 attack ulti. Let's see what Shard can do. That Z misdrop's going to throw things a bit off.
But Shard is keeping up in general, so not going to be topping out from that. And in fact, because of how much clean garbage they received, they are a little bit in zone meter advantage.
Yeah. Really using the phase 1 garbage to your advantage. Like, I feel like that's something, I feel like that's the first phase is a little quick, so it's a little hard to take advantage of that garbage, but...
Did that count as a T-spin? Sure did a weird little like misdrop into T-kick, and I heard the T-spin thing tick, which makes me think they got some points for it. But I have not seen anyone go for that before.
Alright, Araki doing a few skims just to keep a T-spin intact, getting 19 lines in the zone, 46 attack. We are in phase 3. Shard's board isn't looking the greatest. Has to accept some garbage, but you know, there's still plenty more where that came from.
Able to do a decent bit of skimming, but Araki has 0 garbage on the field, so Shard is going to have a lot of pressure coming at them. Has to use these quarter zones very efficiently, but if anyone's going to do it, I think it can be Shard. We've seen a lot of their quick zone play be very detrimental to their opponents. So holding out in phase 3, I don't think is something that Shard is not going to be too posed to tackle.
Shard's been able to deflect a good amount of Araki's attacks pretty well, but, you know, still has to accept garbage from time to time, so we'll have to see how this, goes.
Araki misdrops on the board, still getting an 18 Perfectress.
Yeah, that is a lot of attack. Not much time for Shard in the zone here.
Alright, let's see. What are the skim
Let's see if he can keep the downstack going. That's a pretty decent downstack.
The end of the
just not enough room. Enough to get another zone? That's just not enough though.
We're trying
There's a really decent play of There's a really decent show of survival there, but you know, Araki is just really good at piling on pressure, and it's just not going to be enough for everyone.
Oh, and Araki's going for it, but unfortunately going to receive 2 lines of garbage, so I think PC is probably out of play. But we have seen MS2 and other triple-double setups be very useful in getting a lot of pressure off very quickly. And depending on, a lot of those setups sometimes will result in some insanely strong zone clears if anyone's been keeping an eye on Araki's Twitter.
Yeah, Shard had a very nice C-spin right at the start there.
And alrighty,
Yeah, use Mr. T-spins.
Very quick zone, still getting 41, and although Araki is going to find the ulti rather quick as well, Shard is able to work up a decent bit of zone.
That's a lot of garbage coming in.
And again, it's a little bit.
Ooh, that's gonna be very scary. There's
really
not a lot of time to deal with all that garbage. Araki is just piling it on, and Shard manages to survive and take most of it. That's still a lot of garbage, though. Shard's gonna have to do a lot to get rid of that. But you know, really good survival, really good use of the zone there to try and keep himself in the game.
Oh no, and well, okay, well, not the. All right, first commentator's curse of the tournament. All right, glad you were here to see it.
Oh my god, Araki's efficiency was as fast as Shard's drops per minute.
Well, in Shard's defense, Shard was having to play a lot of very immediate quarter zones, which is not the best thing to do.
Oh no! Oh no! Not like this. That is the unfortunate spike at the start. That is rough.
The 3 drops per second burst from Araki, realizing that the PC was in the cards. Again, a big reason why you tend to see people not upstack a terrible amount early on in phase 1, because sometimes that happens, and if you have no zone to deal with it, you're kind of just a sitting duck.
Yeah, overstacking is definitely a problem.
So we will have to see, but again, you know, Shard does want to make sure there's a lot on their board. Again, being able to pull off some really fast zone clears often relies on having a couple of Tetrises already ready. And, well, I guess Shard's not really going to be going for a quick zone on this build, but has been maintaining pretty clean. However, Araki is just... Oh, okay. Might have been a misdrop there, but still able...
Oh, what? Wait, hold on. What is that setup? Still manages to pull off a T-spin triple with that hole. Oh my goodness.
All right, and Shard, there we go. We see the quick zone coming out and intentionally...
Araki's board isn't looking too great right now.
Shard really...
Araki is going to find a down stack.
On the board. Oh my goodness, Araki's still going to get
Araki manages to get 29 lines.
The all clear.
What was that counter? Are you serious?
Somehow Araki only dealt 30 lines with the quarter zone they had to work with, and still managed to pull off the all clear at the end.
The PC at the end. That's disgusting. And then there's a C-spin at the start here. I mean,
well, there is the... Yeah,
I love to see the
triple double. Well, I don't think it is anymore. I think it started that way.
C-spin is a good show of style, though. I love seeing it.
I think Shard wanted this to be a bit of a quicker zone, but I don't know if they're able to capitalize as much.
Yeah, topped out early, I think, to try and counteract that. But, you know, Araki already had enough lines to clear. Just going to be doing a 3-6 stack, rather.
Again, if Shard is able to play really...
That donation! Wow!
Shard is at 3/4 of a zone. Are they able to build it to
57
full?
Attack incoming. That's a lot of garbage. Shard has to do something now. Let's meet the end with a huge spike of gray.
Oh, they want the T-spin, but the T-piece isn't going to come in time.
Cancels out a good chunk of it, but that's still a lot incoming. Does the count to 4? That's a little risky.
Oh, they need to get down to their well. They managed to do so.
Finds some down stack there. A lot more still incoming, though. Uses the O to tuck in. That's pretty good, but slows him down quite a bit.
O to fix the O misdrop. Both players at max zone. Araki is
Araki's zone. Yeah. Yep, up to 10 lines already. Playing super efficiently. Not breaking that back-to-back at all.
Efficiency.
Up to 17.
Finally,
up to 17.
18
gets the ulti. 66 attack from that.
Oh, 44 in his face.
90,000 points from Araki.
90k, 120 APM. rivaling
Goodness
Shard's
gracious.
drops per minute. Oh my goodness, what a hot start here to square one.
And so Araki taking it's just not wasting any time, understanding that we're starting late and trying to get these matches over as quick as possible.
Like that was a complete sweep from Araki, but you have to admit Shard was playing really well there. Some good efficiency, good survival.
Keep in mind, Shard was able to get into a bit of advantage state with Araki several times during that set, and often from some of those intentional top-out zones. There was a period where, again, like that quarter zone from Araki definitely turned the tides of the match, but if it wasn't for that insanely quick thinking, Shard definitely would have been able to take a round there.
Yeah.
And
oh my... What? That's only the first match. That's only the first match, and we already had an insane counterattack.